Ryan here from Little King Watches, and today I want to open up the case back of this new Omega that I just got. So this Omega says it was actually given to someone who worked at DeFasco for a quarter century club, has the person's name in 1951. Now looking at this does not look like a 1951, so I really want to get the serial number on the back of the movement, but I also just want to see what kind of condition the movement is in. I have a bunch of different tools. These would all be classified as amateur tools. So you can get some professional tools that are much more expensive from companies like Bergeron or Horatec. These are what often watchmakers are going to have. It's going to be a way that you guarantee to open watches without doing any damage. This is more meant for kind of like entry level or vintage pieces. So I'm just going to show you that this is my, what I was wearing today, my Monta Atlas. As you can see on the back, it's a crystal case back, but it doesn't actually have the grooves that I'm going to show you in a second. And so I actually wouldn't attempt to open something like this with the tools in front of me. This also has 150 meters of water resistance, which means that the case back has to be screwed down perfectly. So what we're going to do is look at some vintage watches. So this Omega, as you can see, it actually has grooves all the way around. So you're going to use basically these three tools here, which I'll explain and show how to do in a minute. So that's that one off. Then you have this one, which is kind of complicated. So this is a beautiful, stunning Wittnauer, but it is a solid gold case back, which means that these tools will not work. The fancy ball will not work. The pry tool will not work. You actually have to get it's actually like a claw, which I'll put a picture on, which will end up pulling the crystal off. You'll pull the crown out, the movement will turn sideways, and it will come out. That's called the top mount. We don't do these. I send those to my watchmaker. You have this beautiful 1940s Elgin, and you're gonna see here that it's a steel case back and it has a little tab. Now you can see all these scratches that someone missed it, but the tab is supposed to be quite simple. So you don't even need to mount this one. You just grab this tool here, which is the little pry bar. You put it underneath. You give it a little turn. Of course, this one doesn't want to open for me today. There we go. So you heard it. It popped up. Now, oftentimes what you'll see is these actually remove the entire piece. And then you have to just basically push up on the crown. Sometimes they're a little locked, and you can get the movement out of this casing. But I'm not going to dive into that too much. I'm going to push it back. You can hear a snap. Oh, there's no snap on that one. That's probably why it came out so easy. Oftentimes there's a little bit of a snap. You line the case back up without trying to scratch the dial. You push back. Quick press release. It's good to go. The next type, you're going to have this. You're going to see that it looks like you're going to use one of these two tools, and you are, but that's just a ring. And then once you get that ring, you oftentimes have to use a pry bar to get this one open. Here we go. Beautiful. There's two ways to open an Omega like this. So the first one is you get it into the mount. I had it all set up and then I had to test it with another one. You get it into the mount. Now, 90% of the time, you can use the ball on these vintage watches because they're not that tight. Away you go, right? I already loosened this one, so it will open. There we go. You can see there's still actually a rubber seal on this one. And there is the movement. Now I'm gonna seal this back up for a second. Then I'm going to use the ball. Even when it is a tool mount, I still use the ball just to get it started if I'm gonna tighten it. Then you have two options. So put this away. The $10.99 on Amazon, the best deal. This comes in almost every vintage watch, just watch repair kit. But I'm gonna show the other ones that I don't like. They look like this. So this one has a rounded edge so you don't cut yourself. I find this one to be useless. Then there's the classic knife that all of the older watchmakers and collectors use. I don't like this either. I've slipped with this and scratched things. I've only ever had one kit to come with this aggressive one. Love this thing. My pride and joy. Please don't ever break. Now we're at this piece here. There's two ways. This one has three pieces, so the handle spins. As you can see, this is going to adjust in and out. This one moves this in and out. It comes with a whole bunch of different bits that will fit the different size. You ideally line it up and away you go. This is if it's really wedged. This is the traditional tool. I find it's very easy to scratch it. And as you can see, there's a pretty good little scratch across the back, which means someone probably scratched it at one point. This is a very simple and inexpensive piece from Amazon, but I actually really like it. I'm just gonna transition to sitting down so I don't scratch it. Make sure I'm in the view there, okay? So then what you do is you basically put it in one. This one now goes over because I was playing with it. You adjust it back in until it is nice and tight. And then very simple, you just apply some pressure. See, the watch moved, but it's being held by the mount, and now it opens, okay? And I'm gonna close it nice and tight the same way. This little tool has been incredibly handy. I have not slipped with this and not made a mistake. So I've been loving this little thing way more than this, which is annoying. And I have actually slipped with it before, but this is the more official tool within the amateur space. But of course, watchmakers use stuff that's way better. So if you want to get into the back of a vintage watch, it's very inexpensive. $10.99 or $10.95 for a rubber ball from Amazon. I think this piece came with, actually I believe these came together in a kit because my ball, I lost it. So I had to get a new one, and I believe it also came with one of these. So, and it actually came with a replacement of this that I didn't like. But that's what all that kit was, I think like $17 to replace it. This is just the housing. This is old and kind of beat up because I've used it a lot. But this also will work really well. And this comes in most, simple kits that you can get, which I'll show you in a second. These also come in all the kits. Now, what does a kit mean? Wonderful question. They're on Amazon. I bought my first one, and then I got a Christmas one once, and I combined them. It's very inexpensive. I'm just gonna move these out of the way. But it comes with a lot of the basics. So here's mine that you can see. Here's one that I've never used because it doesn't have the bits in it. This is actually for resizing a metal bracelet, but I'm gonna have a different video on that. There's some pliers in here. There's some screwdrivers. These are the little bits for this piece. This is also used for resizing some bracelets. But this is just a very basic, kind of like intro to watchmaking kit, but it's not high quality, and I wouldn't do anything serious. Like this piece is for removing the hands off of the dial. I would not use this stuff. I would contact someone who actually sells Bergeron or Horatak. Luckily, I know someone. I did a little collab with him, which is Colin from Watch Off the Cuff. It's located in Milton, Ontario, which is pretty close to me, but I believe he ships as well. And there's not going to be any imports or tariffs on that because it's local, but you can reach out to him. You can reach out to me to get some parts. I also know a bunch of guys that sell vintage stuff if you really want to go down that path of getting a vintage kit or setup. But basic pieces right here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you can basically open, I'm going to say 80 to 90% of vintage watch cases. Thanks for checking it out. This has been Ryan from Little King Watches. Please subscribe and follow. It means a lot. I'm trying to grow the channel. I have a website at littlekingwatches.com if you want to check out some vintage watches, but I always appreciate the support. It means a lot to me. Thanks and subscribe.